are you ready to be guardians of the geekery? Because things are about to get really geeky up in here. You guys have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, right? All of you? You've all seen it? You saw it? You saw it? Let's try that one more time. Have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy? All right, all my Star-Lords and Star-Ladies out there, good, because we're about to have a sweet, sweet time. I'm gonna bring a guy out here. Of course you know him. He plays Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy. Please show your love for Mr. Batista! Welcome, welcome. And of course we do have another gentleman that's gonna be joining us. Mr. Yondu himself, Michael Rooker! Mr. Michael Rooker, I guess, right? Yeah, let's get a chair over here. All right. Wait, I have a very important question. Did you do a good job? Are you a good dancer? Batista, how was it? Did you do a good job?
He didn't see me.
You didn't see? Oh. Do you think you did a good job? Well, now, I mean, if this is grooting, I think we call it grooting. Grooting is a thing now. I need to see you, Chicago. I want to see what your grooting moves are. Would we like to see that? You want to see these guys? I want to see these guys dance. Let's make them dance.
Get the music!
We need some music. Everybody up! 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 Show your best grooting move, Chicago! All right, grooting! You're good.
Yeah, that's grooting.
You guys should have some microphones. There you go. There you go, sir. Well, before we begin, you guys know the drill. We do have microphones here and here. Keep it one question per person. Please make it actually a question. Nice and concise. No special requests. Also use hashtag WWChicagoCC and break out those smartphones for your Frankly Chat app. Use WizardCon to register your questions from the comfort of your very own seat. Hey, congratulations! This movie is apparently pretty darn big, isn't it?
I think people like it a lot.
I think so. Where were you guys on opening day? Where were you kind of like hanging out and watching? And when did you realize that this was an explosive opening?
Where were you?
I took 20 of my friends and we watched it at the local theater.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So it was that good of a day then, that you don't remember. Well, I think pretty much everyone in the movie except for Chris Pratt is covered in makeup, and most of you guys have shaved your heads, shaved your bodies. Batista did, yeah. Did you have it the worst, or who had the worst makeup application?
I hate to say that I had it the worst, but yeah, I mean, actually it wasn't that bad. It was long, but I don't know, man. It just never seemed bad to me. It just seemed like I was hanging out with a bunch of my buddies.
I don't know. When I heard about what you had to do,
Yeah.
That seemed a lot worse than what I had.
It was brutal. That was the thing where every day, like Zoe and I would be there for hours and hours and hours before Chris would show up, and he'd show up like 10 minutes before call time. He'd look dirt on his face and his hair messed up. And think, man, are you serious?
He's ready to go. All right, let's take some questions from the audience. Yes, sir. I'm a little concerned about what's in your hand. I don't know. What is that?
This is a cheesecake for Batista.
A cheesecake for Batista. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Well, do you have a question?
Yeah. I love your work from Evolution, and I love your movie. Awesome.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, bring the cheesecake up here real quick. It's mine now. Can I have this cheesecake?
Is that like your favorite dessert or something?
No.
It's a hell of a cheesecake. Yeah. All right, get out of here. This is now getting weird. Go on, Chicago. A cheesesteak. All right. Cheesecake. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, next questions. No more ads.
No more food.
Get
Yeah.
involved with your questions, people.
Hi.
Hi, so I absolutely love the music from Guardians of the Galaxy. So my question is, who do you think is the best dancer in the cast, and who do you think is the worst dancer in the cast?
Solid question.
Duh.
I think your two answers are sitting right here. Best first.
Good answer.
A question from a banana, of course.
On the vegetation of this panel, but going off to the soundtrack question, what is your favorite song off of the soundtrack?
What's your favorite, Dave? Do you remember?
Yeah, my favorite song on the soundtrack is I Won't Get Back, but my favorite song in the movie is Ain't No Mountain High Enough, just because of where it's at. I don't know, it's just such a feel-good moment, and the song just feels so good, it just fits that moment, just kind of chose to look at it.
Yeah. You actually get a couple sweet moments in the movie. Are people viewing you as a big softie now?
No, you know,
It's a
I
fair
think
question.
That's not a fair
That
question.
is a total fair question. Who thinks he gets like the sweet moments, and a couple sweet moments? He pets Rocket Raccoon. He's got a nice moment with Groot.
That is a good one. That's a good one. He's been the rodent. Yeah.
Anyone who personally knows me knows that I am a big softie. But I think the coolest thing about it, I think people didn't know what to make of Drax beforehand. I think they saw the pictures and they thought he was going to be a one-noted character, kind of that, warrior soldier type. And I don't think they expected to see like different sides of Drax. So I think that was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rooker, did James Gunn actually give you direction, or just take off the collar and say, go sick him? Because you were like a mad dog out there doing awesome things.
No. Gunn is a great director.
That was the thing. And when we were going through rehearsals, because I knew of Yondu from the comics, and he just put a whole different twist on Yondu, and just made him so interesting and just surly and edgy. I just love it. I think he's got one of the best scenes in the movie too. Is kind of the gunslinger scene where he just
Oh, nice.
calls out the arrow and it just
Great.
turns out.
At the end, that was cool.
Yeah. Certainly got the audience cheering in the
Very
theater.
soft. Yeah, Yondu was a very soft-spoken, very gentle.
You're the softie.
I have softy moments.
You're the softie.
You know, when I punch Star-Lord in the gut, that's a soft moment.
It's out of blood.
I could have just killed him, dude.
I believe you did, because I heard him complain about
I
it.
know, you know what?
Freaking Rooker, it's trying to kill me.
But I have to say, he asked for it. And I mean, literally, he said, Rook, just go ahead. Just go ahead. Harder. He was into it.
But honestly, if you didn't ask for it, would you have hit him any softer?
No.
And there you go. Hi.
Hi there, a question for Mr. Batista. To the degree they can be separated, how did pro wrestling help prepare you for Hollywood? And what if you weren't in Hollywood and you could bring back to the ring with your character in the pros?
Oh man, it's really hard because they're just so different. It's hard. I tell people the similarity really is that a camera is pointing in your general direction in both. But otherwise, that's, you know, it's kind of where the similarities end. Because wrestling is just so big and broad, and acting, you know, films, everything's just so much smaller and intimate. They're so different. I think that's why I love them both so much. You know, I guess I'm entertainer at heart, and they're both challenging. They're different ways.
All right. Hi there.
I have a question for Michael. How long did you have to sit in makeup to become Yondu?
All right, so the question is, how long did Rooker have to sit in makeup to become Yondu?
Well, first off, I was already Yondu.
This is true.
I sat about 3.5 hours.
He had a mohawk under his
totally had a mohawk.
prosthetic mohawk.
I flew over on the plane. I was already Yondu. I had cut my hair as a joke for James Gunn, and I cut it into a mohawk. I had an awesome little mohawk. It was kind of about that long and went all the way back. It was really cool. And the thing with mohawks, I don't want to get off on the question, but the thing with mohawks is that you still have to trim the other part of your head to make it look cool. So every time I trim this mohawk, it would get smaller and more crooked. And by the time I was like a couple weeks into the shoot, I had this little tuft of a thing. I finally just said, oh, look, that's it. I gotta go. It's gotta go.
Probably the answer to your question, you've noticed that he's a little energetic. So it took him 3.5, 4 hours in makeup because he just couldn't sit still. He couldn't get hold of it. But if he was able to sit still, it probably
20 minutes?
Yeah. I was going to say 5, but I think maybe I give you an extra 15.
But truly, you know, I fell asleep a couple of times. And they started bringing in another girl to grab my ears and pull me up and hold me like that.
You had an ear assistant. I didn't notice that in the credits.
That's right.
Ear assistant, Mr. Rooker. But good question, little man. I like
Good
it.
question. All total, it took about 4.5 hours to be camera ready. That includes makeup, wardrobe, and everything else. Yeah.
Hi there.
Hi, this question's for both of you. Compared to the other work that you've done, where does this rank in terms of the amount of fun that you've had doing the movie?
Oh, good question.
Well, I haven't done that many films, but this by far exceeds, anything I've ever done, like really in my life. It was so much fun. And it was, we shot over 5-6 months and rehearsed for like a couple months before we even started shooting. So it was like 7-8 months of just blast. And then picked up again when we started doing the press tour and got back together and everything. It's been nothing but fun.
Speak for yourself. That's true. We had a blast.
Yeah.
Totally
So much fun.
I discovered that I hate to put this out there because I'm going to get thousands of them now. But if anybody has ever heard of twiglets, I love those little twiglets. They're like these little pieces of wood-looking things that are, and they taste like burnt wood, but they're delicious. and every time I ate a twiglet, I was thinking, Groot.
Twiglets. Yeah, you're going to be getting a lot of twiglets from now on.
Well, they're hard to find over here. I think you got to go to London or England or places like that to get them. Australia, they have twiglets.
The twiglet people, yeah.
Boxes of twiglets.
Hi there.
Hey there. I'm sure everybody knows this already, but there are a few finer performances in the movie ever than Michael Rooker and Henry Portrait of the Serial Killer. It's required viewing for our kids in the audience.
It's required viewing for everyone under 12.
Yeah. If you never want to sleep again, children.
Should have been a musical. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just wanted to know how long it took you to shake off that character, and if you're ever doing a role that freaking shit your pants scary ever again. Pardon me.
You know what? Well, first off, people ask this question a lot, and people ask the other opposite end of this question. Well, how long did it take me to get into the role, and what kind of preparation? and I tell them there was no preparation required. And I scare the hell out of the entire audience. And then in the other end of the question, your question is, I tell them that it's never left me. And do you need a ride home later?
Yes, sir.
My question for Batista. I've been a big fan since you're working with Evolution and on SmackDown and everything. My question was regarding Rey Mysterio, because you two were like kind of or both my favorite like iconic wrestlers at the time. How was it working with Rey in and outside of the ring, and how was your guys' friendship and things like that?
We're tight. We've always been tight. We're still tight. And Rey, it breaks my heart, but because I get asked a lot, what was my favorite match, my best match of my career, and it was actually on a house show in Mexico, a match that I did with Rey. And we weren't booked on the show together, but I was leaving the company, and I was, big as a heel at the time. Of course, Rey, babyface in Mexico, was, to work him as a heel in Mexico was like a dream come true. So I begged and pleaded to get this match, and they gave it to me at the last minute. And literally, by far, it's the best match of my career that nobody will ever see, unless you were there.
Yeah, so you got to wrestle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, let's take a question from the Frankly Chat app. And I guess this is for Rooker. Yondu grins when we see Quill snookered him. Is he like a proud papa in a way, or just excited to go kick Quill's butt?
Oh, you mean, are they referring to the end?
Yeah.
I hang up in New York. The thought in my head was, that's my boy. I taught him well. He knows I can take it. He didn't survive now. All that went to my head.
You're still gonna go kick his butt, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hi there.
That look happened after the camera cut.
Dave, my question is, what is your favorite lift and what is your max deadlift?
Good question.
That's a good question with a really boring answer. I'm really not a heavy weightlifter. I lifted really heavy when I was younger, but it's just not my thing now. I just don't want to. I don't even lift weights all that much.
So then, how did you train for the role? How did you get so big?
Well,
I think he was born for the role.
that was the thing. When I trimmed down purposely to try to get more roles. It's rough getting roles in films for me anyway. But at the time when I auditioned for Drax, I looked basically like this. But I asked James when I got the role if he wanted me to put some more weight on. He said, sure, put on a little bit. And I said, yeah, it'd be easy. And I just started lifting weight. I lifted weights for a month, and I shot back, I went from 260 to 280. Just like that. It's been my thing.
Muscle memory?
It's been kind of my thing since I was younger. It's been a gift and a curse. But it's my thing. I just put on muscle really easy.
Me too. I gotta tell you, seriously, if I work out for 3 weeks, I have a different body type. My leg, my toes develop muscle.
I've seen his toes.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. It's amazing when you have good genes.
Toes of steel. Yeah.
Hey guys, Batista, I've been a fan of yours since I was young. WrestleMania 23, actually as The Undertaker, was one of the highlights of my life. Fantastic match. This is a question for both of you guys. Was there, with a sizable cast like this, was there much in the way of pranks or anything along that line happening?
People always think that, and I'm not really sure what you mean by prank. 15,000 bumblebees take to somebody's door as they open it. Never mind.
No, we had a lot of laughs, but we didn't really prank each other all that much. They pranked me once along the whole shoot. And it was just they called me to set, and they were gonna have like this big dance-off, and I was the only one who wasn't aware that we were gonna have this big dance-off. And it just turned into this big crazy thing. It was like 200 extras on the set. It was a big crash site scene. And you know...
Yes!
So when Star-Lord starts dancing, it's like, ooh, child, and he starts the whole dance off, and he points at Ronan, well, during the shot. Well, Ronan actually started dancing back. And then I'm like, oh, it's Lee, Lee's messing around, but then, Chris points at Zoe, and she starts dancing, and I'm like, what's going on? I was like, oh, man, they're gonna point at me. This thing, sure enough, Drax. It did some, like, goofy Will Smith dance. I think it's going to be actually on the DVD.
Yeah. I really hope so.
Please make it so.
I missed that scene. I come in a little later in the sequence.
Well, instead, I guess, as far as the pranks, as far as the ALS bucket challenge, Pratt challenged you, Batista, right? I would say that you won the ice bucket challenge with that. If you haven't seen it, you're in a tub full of ice.
I was gonna do the tub full of ice. My lovely better half wouldn't let me.
No. Well, it was really cool. It's really cool. It is a cool thing. I'm glad you brought it up because, I never. Lou Gehrig's been my hero since I was a kid, but I never thought about really donating towards ALS. I just never really thought it was something that people, I guess, they go through in daily life and they don't really think about stuff like that until somebody brings it to your attention. Hey, maybe you should be doing this. And it did. It brought a lot of awareness, and they've raised a lot of money for ALS. And I wasn't aware of what the challenge was until Chris called me out. And as soon as he did, I was on board. And I've called out some friends who have taken it to an even different level. A friend, a very close friend named Nonio Donaire, who's a boxer, professional boxer. And he did this awesome thing. He got one of those big tanks where you throw balls at him, it's a dunk tank. And he charged people for each ball they threw. And he ended up raising like $5,000. Just, dunking himself in a big, but it's just, it's just a way to get involved.
James Gunn was my challenger. He challenged me, and so I wasn't sure, what to do. Yeah? And so it's like a bucket. A bucket's not enough, And so anyway, I had this foot soaking bucket, which was really quite large. And so, on my video, I let the audience know that, in California we're in a major drought in a big way. So I got water from my septic, and I froze it with ice cubes. It's called recycling. Next question.
Next question. Here, just bring the mic down a little bit.
This question is for both of you. Was there ever a point in the movie while you were shooting it where you just had to break out laughing because of the lines that you had or something that the other person did?
No. Several times.
And Zoe would laugh at me all the time. She would constantly laugh at me. It was hard.
You had the best lines, dude.
I'd be working really hard to stand with a straight face because a lot of times you just couldn't. But then Zoe would look at me and just start, getting the giggles. And it's very, if you've ever been on set, you realize the giggles is very contagious.
Directors don't like giggling.
Giggling's bad for business. Yes, sir.
What was your favorite scene in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Favorite scene?
You have a favorite scene?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah. Go ahead. You start.
One of them is the gunslinger scene. I think it's just amazing.
Toward the end, yeah.
Yeah, but also I really like when Chris kind of rallies us up. It really says that we need to all put it on the line for the greater good. I just kind of feel good scene. It's one of those scenes I get goosebumps. I can start getting excited.
When everyone's standing up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I love the way it's very serious scene. And then at the end of it, you know, Rocket is standing there saying, "Now we're all just a bunch of church stands." You know?
And that was a light cue, apparently, yeah.
What does that mean? Does that mean the last call?
They caught it quick. Hi there.
Hi, my name's Jack, and I was wondering if it was difficult for you to interact with the characters that had to be put in with computer generation, since they weren't actually there.
So the question is, for anybody that can't hear, was it difficult to interact with CGI characters that were put in later?
You had to do more of that than I.
Yeah, it wasn't, because we had really good stand-ins. Like the stand-in for Rocket was Sean Gunn, James' brother, who actually plays Kraglin in film. He's really
First mate.
He is a talented kid, man. He was all into Rocket. He didn't, you know, it wasn't. But sometimes you have people who are just. It's almost like they're just reading off a piece of paper. They just, you know, if they're not going to get credit for the character, then they don't want to be the character. You know, but he was like so involved in being Rocket, man. He made it really super easy. So it really wasn't all that much of a challenge because we usually had some type of tool to work with.
They would have individuals in green suits that would represent the actual physical body of whatever character they were going to be playing.
Well, we probably only have time for a couple more questions, so...
10 more questions.
You're killing me, Rooker.
I'm going to do my 10 questions.
This question is a little bit more for Michael. Do you think that they will eventually expand on Yondu or any of the other original Guardians?
You know, I think in number 2 they're going to expand on several roles. Yeah, I'm fingers crossed that Yondu will be one of them. I could have milked that better. You know what? I think in the future, in not season 2, but when they do Guardians of the Galaxy 2, there will be room for expansion of certain characters, such as perhaps Yondu.
That was so natural. That was very seamless.
What do you think?
I thought that was pretty good, yeah. Well, James Gunn has said that he wants to do more with Yondu.
He already said that.
Yeah, so and there's definitely a good arc set up to go do that. Yes, sir.
All right, so this question's for Michael Rooker. So next year, Mallrats turns 20. And so what's your favorite memory from that film?
I keep being reminded almost daily when people bring me chocolate covered pretzels. That was by far my favorite moment in there when I got to eat my favorite dessert, which is dark chocolate covered Godiva pretzels.
That was awesome.
That was a good one. Actually, the pretzels are my favorite. Yeah, it's one of my favorite scenes. Yeah.
I was actually planning on waiting in line for your autograph and just to ask you if you would like a chocolate covered pretzel.
You're gonna offer chocolate. I'm sure you get a lot. Yeah.
Well, you know
Twiglets and
what?
pretzels.
We are, after this, we are going back to our tables. So anyone who would like can feel free to come and line up. How was that one?
You're just knocking them out of the park today.
Okay, now how about, I know we're ready to go, right? Dave, you can share in this lovely experience that I've sort of developed over the, Comic-Cons lately. 10 questions. Dave's gonna take 5, I'm gonna take 5. Dave, you'll do the questions from this side, I'll do the questions from this side. One question, really brief, and answer it as fast as you can, and you bring your questions as fast as you can. No dawdling. You dig?
All right, you're gonna start, right, Rooker?
I'll start. Go.
Do you ad-lib any lines?
No.
If there's a team up between the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy, who are you most excited to be playing against?
Answer.
Did you add them in?
No. He doesn't want to
This is
answer.
a conversation.
You had one job!
Okay. Oh.
Too late, David. Quick.
Every question I had, someone already asked. So my
Come on.
question is, what color's your underwear?
I was positive you weren't wearing underwear.
I was afraid.
Would you like to be painted any colors than the colors you were painted in the movie?
No?
Were you familiar with your characters before you were cast?
Of course not.
What is your favorite WrestleMania moment, and are you friends with Daniel Bryan?
That's two questions.
Good question.
WrestleMania 21.
21. Next.
What was Groot like on set?
I don't know. I never played with a tree. Go, baby, go.
My question was actually for Michael Rooker, but how did playing Merle on Walking Dead prepare you for playing Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy?
None of your business. Next.
Wait, the young lady, yes.
Go, girl, go.
What was your first impression of each other?
First impression of each other.
First impressions of each other. God, what an ass.
All right, I gotta tell you the story now. You've probably heard it a million times. I can't say this really fast. This is like one of my earliest impressions of Michael. So I brought my fiance on the set. I said, Michael, this is my fiance. That's all I got out of my mouth. Before he picked her up and ran away with her.
Weirder and weirder. But I think that's 10 questions, right?
Thank you. Hold on, one more.
What was your experience working with Karen Gillian?
Awesome.
Awesome. Check out